All right, we're back here at Zwilly's, of course, in Durham. It's our countdown to kickoff. We are presented by Harlem Beer NC. Our last coach of the day is the new head football coach, I should say, at North Carolina Central. Trei Oliver comes from right up the road and joins us here on the countdown to kickoff. Had the camp. What's going on, Coach Oliver?
I mean, not a thing. It's good to be here. We had camp this morning.
Yep.
About passed out. It was 100 and probably about 200 degrees outside. So I was up under the tent for a little while.
Yeah.
But we made it out there okay.
How does it feel to be back home, if you will, at North Carolina Central, your alma mater?
Oh, it's a blessing. It's good to be back in the nest. Back around family and friends, and the alumni and administration showing us a lot of support. And my wife is from Durham, so it's good to be back in the Bull City.
So you played with two of these coaches, or at least Coach Jones. You played with Coach Jones, right?
Adrian Jones. Yeah, Massey, way older than me.
Yeah.
Don't age me like that, man. Massey.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
So what do you remember most about those days at Central, man?
Well, I was just talking to Coach Massey. These NFL guys got this thing now. They don't remember anything because that concussion stuff they got going on. But we'll discuss that one later, Massey and Coach Jones. But Adrian Jones, we when I came in, we had a really tight relationship, really good friends. And one thing about it, we pushed each other. And I try to tell my guys nowadays, and I think where a lot of guys, lose things is when you see your homeboy, your friend messing up, a good friend will check you and address you. And that was one thing about us when we were coming out. We used to push each other. And if somebody was slipping, we would call each other to the carpet, and because we wanted the best for each other. But we were in each other's weddings, and, good guy.
Yeah. The last last 3 seasons at Southern, you guys are building a good program there in the SWAC, and last season, I should say, were the Western Division champs. Right.
I had a great run, a great experience down there with Dawson Odoms at Southern University, and, they call it down there the little SEC because, football is life down there, and big crowds, big classics, and, had a great time and learned a whole lot from Coach Odoms. He gave me opportunity, to coordinate the defense and everything, and really enjoyed it. Good food down there too.
Yeah, real good food.
Yeah,
real good food. So, sort of take us through spring. What was sort of spring like for you in your new position as the head man at Central?
It's boring. You don't coach. You sit over here and watch other coaches work and do everything else and do the drills. You just sit back and kind of just watch and everything else. So I'm coaching the punters and kickers to keep me busy, but. It was okay. We had a lot of guys banged up. I think we had 17 guys that were out recovering from surgery and everything. So we got a lot of young guys reps, good experience and everything like that. So, we still have some question marks there that we'll try to figure out, when camp starts in next month. But it was a solid spring.
Yeah. What are your expectations? Let's just start with the defense, since you're a defensive, you're a defensive guy. What are sort of some of the expectations and some of the guys we need to look out for defensively?
Expectations. Well, I told Coach Autry Lindsay, shutouts are good.
Okay.
I tell my offensive coordinator we need 50 a game.
All right.
So we should have a decent season if we can do that.
Right.
But no, really, my expectations is I just want to see the guys improve. Week in and week out, day in and day out. Some of the guys to look out for. Defensive line, we should be strong. Kawan Cox,
Yep.
Darius Royster. Then at linebacker, we have Brandon Bailey and. We got a lot of young guys that are going to be back there in the secondary this year, so that's one area that that we have to make sure that we take care of.
Can you sort of talk about Chauncey Caldwell, the quarterback coming in? I don't know, you may make a change, he may not be your guy, but if so, what are some of the things you've seen that he does well?
Well, Chauncey has a lot of experience. Mm-hmm. He's played in a lot of big games. Excuse me. He's played in a lot of conference games. He played against some Division I, opponents. I thought he did an outstanding job of taking care of the football. He makes good decisions. He has a strong arm. I just think that he ran too much last year for my liking.
Okay.
Too many quarterback design runs, and ended up suffering an ankle injury. So I didn't see him this spring. He threw a little bit, but we didn't have many team situations. But we have some young guys that are going to push him. Two freshmen that came in that are outstanding. that I think that are going to give him a run for his money. And then, the backup we had last year, Xanders.
Yep.
He looked really well this spring, and I was impressed. He's very athletic and is a mature young man.
So Isaiah Totten comes back, first team All MEAC guys, been one of the best, running backs in the MEAC, 768 yards rushing. Talk about him, what you've seen from him in the spring.
Well, Totten is a man, and he's physical. He has all the tools to be a great running back. Great character, great young man, outstanding student. Type guy that you want to build your program around. We kind of limited his reps because we knew what he could do, and we wanted to see some of the younger guys, get some work this spring. But we're gonna ride Totten this season. We're gonna ride Totten.
Coming in as the new coach, what are back in December? It was announced. So, what are some of the first things that you did as the head coach at your alma mater?
Well, first of all, we had to instill a culture. I think we had to change the culture, and our philosophy and our with the staff is culture over scheme. And it doesn't matter, what you draw on the board, what plays you draw up. If you don't have guys that embrace the culture, that's going to do things the right way, do what you ask them to do when you ask them to do it, and aren't disciplined, it doesn't matter what you put on the board. But aside from instilling our culture, the big thing was we had to hit the road and recruit. That was a big thing. We had to recruit, and we have 40 first-year players coming in camp. So out of the 105 we're bringing in, 40 of those guys, this will be their first year at Central. You
have a lot of transfer guys coming in?
No.
Okay.
We have a couple, 2 or 3 transfer guys, but I like to develop high school kids, and just because they were at an FBS school doesn't mean they can play.
Right.
So they transfer them for a reason, and sometimes it's just about playing time, and they want to look for a better situation. But for me, I like to develop the high school young men, guys that want to come to North Carolina Central and be great.
Trei Oliver is in his first season as the head football coach at North Carolina Central, joins us here on the countdown to kickoff. Recruiting philosophy in terms of where you recruit. Is it home base first and then you sort of go from there? Meaning Durham, North Carolina Central, and then from there?
Right. Well, our philosophy was a gas tank philosophy. Wherever we can get you in a gas tank is where we're going to go.
What kind of car you driving? That makes the difference, though. Like, what kind of car are you driving?
Yeah, Hyundai or whatever we can save money with gas. But no, for me, and we had a lot of coaches from out of state, and a lot of folks want to recruit this area, Florida or this area, and I had to try to tell the guys, for us to recruit guys, and I think that's why we had a successful recruiting class. You have to get in that young man's home, and you have to go by the school, and you have to develop a relationship. You can't fly to Florida one time, see a kid, and build a relationship. So it's got to be a situation where we can get in this kid's home, week in and week out. So we can build a relationship with the coach, build a relationship with the young man, and recruit him. I don't think you can recruit over the phone.
Yeah. Last couple of thoughts here. Assisting or being an assistant under Rod Broadway in a couple of stops. He was just inducted into the North Carolina Sports Hall of Fame. Also, I think this past year. So, what are some of the things that you took from him that you're applying in your program now at Central?
Well, as a matter of fact, I was just with Coach Broadway this past weekend. I got with him at Myrtle Beach this past weekend, and we were sitting down talking. And, it's not rocket science. It's football. You got to recruit. And this time of the year, in the offseason, I think it's about players. You got to recruit. You win with players in offseason. Next week, when all the guys report, now you win with coaching. So I think, first and foremost, it starts with recruiting. You have to have good players in there. And then once you get them in the door, you got to coach them up.
And then lastly, tough schedule. Your 5 of your first 6 games are on the road, and that's tough. So can you kind of speak to that and trying to, get off on that right foot, being away from O'Kelly Riddick?
It doesn't matter. Put the ball down. It doesn't matter.
That's it.
That's it. Put the ball down. Whether we're at O'Kelly or on the road, the schedule's what it is. No excuses, no explanations.
All right. Give it up for Trei Oliver in his first season as the head football coach at North Carolina Central. Joins us here on the countdown to kickoff. Before we wrap it up, we're going to step aside, take one more break, come back. We're going to be joined by Jamel Lynch, who, of course, is the CEO of Harlem Beer NC. We're back after this.